Hello everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of Dayspring Discussions. I'm your host, Sean McGahee, and this is a show where we talk about movies, TV, sci-fi, fantasy, comic books. If you geek out about it, we're going to talk about it. You can listen to Dayspring Discussions on iTunes, YouTube, Podomatic, and Patreon, and contact Dayspring Discussions on the Facebook group, the Twitter account, and dayspringdiscussions@gmail.com. Well, guys, happy Thursday. It is a pretty good Thursday here in Austin, Texas. I am just chilling out, and I do apologize. I feel like I've been lacking a little bit this week in the news. I've had a busy first half of the week, and today I actually wasn't even planning on doing a show. I was going to skip it. I was going to watch some Jessica Jones. It just came on Netflix, but lo and behold, I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden my Star Wars app pops up some news, and I'm like, okay, fine. I guess I have to do a show, given that I probably won't do a show for the rest of the week. So my plan is to go through as many things as I can, as fast as I can, within the normal time constraints that I usually do a show. That way, it doesn't take me as long to edit, and I get back to hopefully finishing episode 1 of Jessica Jones season 2 before I have to go to work. Now, for those of you who haven't listened yet, I did do my Star Wars Rebels series finale with my wife Lisa. I posted it up on YouTube and the Patreon sites. I'm having some trouble with Podomatic, which means I'm having trouble doing it on iTunes. So maybe I can try to figure that out today. If not, hop on YouTube or Patreon and listen to it there. And I'll still try to get it up later on for those of you who listen on iTunes. Okay, guys. Well, let's just get into it right now. Like I said, I was sitting down, having a cup of coffee, bowl of cereal, watching Jessica Jones. I got about 6 minutes into the first episode of season 2, and lo and behold, news comes out. Jon Favreau is set to executive produce and write a live-action Star Wars series for Lucasfilm. So the guy who directed Iron Man, The Jungle Book, he's working on the new Lion King, I guess you could say live-action film, even though it was all CGI. He's set to produce and write a Star Wars series for the Disney digital platform that's coming out next year, the one where it's going to be like a Netflix for Disney. They're doing a live-action Star Wars. Not sure what it's about yet. Kathleen Kennedy, president of Lucasfilm, said, quote, "I couldn't be more excited about Jon coming on board to produce and write for the new direct-to-consumer platform. Jon brings the perfect mix of producing and writing talent combined with fluency in the Star Wars universe. This series will allow Jon the chance to work with a diverse group of writers and directors and give Lucasfilm the opportunity to build a robust talent base." Jon fired back saying, quote, "If you told me at 11 years old that I would be beginning to tell stories in the Star Wars universe, I wouldn't have believed you. I can't wait to embark upon this exciting adventure." Now, Favreau is no stranger to the Star Wars universe. He's set to make an appearance in the upcoming Solo, a Star Wars story film, and he actually voiced Pre Vizsla on Star Wars The Clone Wars for several seasons on the Star Wars animated series. So he's also friend of the family, worked within Lucasfilm. He's got Disney, he's worked with Marvel, and now, of course, he's going with Star Wars, but it's all on the Disney banner, so not a problem there, guys. So I have a couple thoughts on this. First off, I'm excited because I like Jon Favreau, but I'm also a little disappointed as well because in my dream head, what I wanted for the Obi-Wan movie was Jon Favreau to direct it. That's what I wanted. That's not going to happen now, I don't think. He's working on a live-action series. He's also trying to work on The Lion King. So I'm not sure as far as where his full attention is going to be, to be honest. Says he's going to write and produce, and then they're going to bring in other people to direct. That's fine. But when you're directing a film, especially one that I'm sure is as complicated as the Lion King film, I don't know. I mean, I guess he's going to do it after, perhaps. I mean, after he's done with the Lion King, but that's still a year away. So you got to think it's another year before maybe he starts working on it. I guess I'm not sure how good he is at multitasking, but in any event, I'm a little disappointed that he's not going to do Obi-Wan. At this point, I think we're all a little curious of if we're ever going to get Obi-Wan. And there's also been a lot of announcements as far as what Star Wars has coming up, what Disney has planned for Star Wars. Because the only thing we have certain is we have Solo, a Star Wars story, and then Episode 9. Now, Rian Johnson is set to be working on his own trilogy of films. The guys from Game of Thrones, Benioff and Weiss, are set to doing their own Star Wars series or series of films. And now we have Favreau, who's going to do a Star Wars series for the Disney streaming service. It's been said that perhaps this might be a little oversaturation. I don't believe so. These are just announcements. These are just, hey, these guys are working on this, these guys are working on this. And I think we're not used to that because we're so used to Star Wars being so rare. But we're now in a new age. Ever since Disney bought Lucasfilm, said they were going to make more Star Wars movies, we're used to getting like a couple movies and then years pass. And then a couple movies and then years pass. We're pumping out Star Wars movies, like it's freaking cookies here, okay? We're probably going to get at least a Star Wars movie every year, if not every 2 years, upcoming. Now, that might take away kind of from the specialness of the franchise. I don't know. It depends on what comes out. It's like the Marvel movies. We get 3 Marvel movies every year now. But people still eat them up. Why? Because they're good. Also because they're very different. So if you're going to have several Star Wars movies come out in a year, as long as they're different enough from each other, I think the audience will be fine with it. And with this, it's going to be a TV series. It's not going to be like the movies. When I think TV, and when I think people who make TV have learned, is from Game of Thrones. Benioff and Weiss, of course, them doing a TV series for Star Wars, for the Disney platform, made a little more sense. But Favreau, like I said, I trust his creative talent. I think it'd be a fine choice. Of course, there is now going to be the backlash. I guarantee you, by the end of the day, we're going to hear people bitching about how it's another white male doing Star Wars and they're not being diverse. But he's writing and producing. He's not directing. You can bring in directors of, female or color or whatever to do that. Same thing with Benioff and Weiss. Same thing with Rian Johnson. These are the people that are just going to oversee everything. They're not going to be the ones that actually make everything. So you have a chance to bring in screenplay writers and directors, cinematographers, to actually go and do everything. And like I said, I'm a little befuddled because Favreau is working on Lion King, because I know that's got to be so time consuming. Him doing this, I got to say, it's probably going to be a little far off. I don't know if they're going to have something ready immediately when the streaming service kicks off. If Favreau's writing it, it means he's got to have time to sit down and think about it when he's not thinking about Lion King. So while I'm behind this, I just don't see how Favreau is going to have the time to sit down and write a Star Wars series while he's doing Lion King. And especially if it's going to come out when the streaming service kicks off next year, I don't think there's enough time. But I may be wrong. I'm excited. I like the announcement. Again, a little disappointed it's not Obi-Wan movie, but excited it's Jon Favreau because I like what he does. Okay, moving on to another story, guys. Looks like 20th Century Fox is not slowing down when it comes to their X-Men movies. So according to The Hollywood Reporter, it looks like they are moving ahead with several X-Men movies post this year. They've got dates set for November 22nd, 2019, March 13th, 2020, June 22nd, 2020, and October 2nd, 2020. So even though this deal with Fox and Disney are kind of in the works right now, it's not a done deal. The government is still going through it. It's probably going to be at least till the end of this year before it officially goes through. So looks like 20th Century Fox is moving along just as they planned. They're even planning a Silver Surfer film. That's right. The guy who showed up in Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer, is getting his own film as well. Some people are a little disappointed in this because of how Fox treated the Silver Surfer in those Fantastic Four films. All I can say is you can't blame The Dark Knight or ridicule The Dark Knight for Batman and Robin, okay? Different creators, different interpretations. Silver Surfer being an interesting character. I can see them doing a lot with him. So I'm not too worried about that as far as getting something of the quality that we got in that second Fantastic Four film. Now, as for the X-Men movies, Of course, it's anybody's guess what these are, but I'll take a couple. We already had word that Brian Michael Bendis and Deadpool director Tim Miller are working on kind of a Kitty Pryde film. So there's one right there. We know that Fox is going to want to do a Deadpool 3, so there's your second one. We can assume there's another X-Men movie coming out after X-Men Dark Phoenix, especially since there are rumors that Dark Phoenix X-Men might split into 2 films or even have a continuation at the end. So there's your third one. And then, of course, there's X-Force. People are talking about that. We see part of an X-Force team in the trailers for Deadpool 2. And there's your fourth film right there. So that kind of covers those 4 dates as well as other things, because we do have New Mutants. They're going to come out next year as well in February. People are still talking about the Channing Tatum Gambit film that is been stuck in development hell for the last, 3 years maybe or so, at least. So a lot of stuff going on. Even if Disney/Marvel Studios gets control of the X-Men and the Fantastic Four, it's going to be the end of the year until they do something with it or until they make it official. Then it's going to be at least another year before they get around to it. We're looking 2021 or so, probably before that goes into full swing into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm sure Kevin Feige, being our Lord and Savior of superheroes, has an idea of what he's going to do. He's probably thought about it before the deal was even announced, or, I'm sure he had an idea how he would like to bring Fantastic Four and even the X-Men into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's going to be a couple more years, guys, so we just got to hold tight. So until then, business goes on as usual, and I'm fine with it. I enjoyed X-Men Apocalypse. I enjoyed Deadpool. I enjoyed Logan. I enjoyed Days of Future Past. So far, the latest films in the X-Men saga with 20th Century Fox have been fine with me. I'm excited for Dark Phoenix. Of course, Deadpool 2 I'm not worried about. I think it's going to be great. So for now, 20th Century Fox with the X-Men franchise. Those are my guesses. So I'm thinking Deadpool 3, another X-Men Main Street film, X-Force, and of course the Kitty Pryde film. Those are the ones that I think they are putting in those slots. But let me know what you think. Fire back on the Facebook group, the Twitter account, and of course the Gmail account. And what movies do you think besides those might fill those 4 slots, guys? Okay, well, I got a couple more minutes here before my time is up, so I am just going to go stick with Marvel and release dates. So it's said that by Kevin Feige, he's got the next 20 films planned post Avengers Infinity War. Of course he does, because he's Kevin Feige, like I said. With this, of course, we're thinking Spider-Man Homecoming 2, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Black Widow film is said to be in development. You're thinking maybe Thor 4, another Captain America. It's just crazy, man. I mean, crazy that Kevin Feige is such a planner. And, some of these studios, that's what they lack. Everyone's trying to get their cinematic universe off the ground, and they're trying to put the cart before the horse. Kevin Feige has his plan, but he's making sure that you focus in on the now, the right there, keep it where it is, but plan for the future. That's been the problem with Sony, problem with Warner Brothers and DC, even problem with Universal and their Monster Universe. They're trying to take what's down the road and bring it forward without taking care of what's right in front of them. So anyway, of course, we know Marvel Studios is going to go on until they start making a couple flops, which I don't think is going to happen. They're going to keep planning. Kevin Feige does a tremendous job. They've reached their 10-year mark over there. We're looking for another 10 years. And they've not only redefined the comic book or superhero film genre, but also film in general. I have the Avengers poster. And one of the reasons I wanted to get that is, first off, it's a big budget comic book film. I've been reading comic books my whole life, and I always thought of as a geek or a nerd because I like comic books. When Avengers hit big, it hit mainstream. We were no longer the outcasts. I mean, I guess we're still kind of geeks or whatever, but these are the films everyone wants to see. These are the blockbusters. These are the movies that are making the money. So it's almost vindication for people like me who have loved these heroes all our lives. And then also, again, it's a cinematic universe, it's like I'm reading a comic book, because in a comic book, Captain America can't show up in Iron Man. Hulk can't show up in Thor. Cross the characters, it made a comic book universe come to life. And since then, every studio has been trying to replicate this formula without success. Kevin Feige does it great. I don't know why everyone else can't do it great. Of course, making movies is hard work in general. If it was easy, everyone would do it. But nevertheless, Marvel has got a lot of films still planned out, and I'm excited to see what they got coming. Alright guys, well that is it for today. I want to try to make it short and sweet as possible. Hopefully it won't take me long to edit this, so I can get back and at least finish an episode of Jessica Jones or two. So next week, I'm coming back. I will hopefully have watched all of Jessica Jones. Now I'm going to try to pace myself a little bit. I don't want to watch a bunch of episodes at one day. I'm thinking maybe if I could do 2 a day, perhaps, that might be a good pace to go for it. And then of course, Voltron Season 5 came out Friday. That was only 6 episodes, 22 minutes apiece or so. Obviously, I finished that in like less than a day. I'm going to talk about my thoughts on that as well next week. So, a lot of things going on. Of course, there's a lot of other stories that I can go through. You got the Lost in Space trailer that came out, a couple other pieces of movie news. I'll get to it, okay? Next week is a new week. Hopefully, I'll be back on track. Everything will be normal, and we'll go from there. So, also, Saturday, if you're in Austin, I'm going to be there Saturday night at the DC Pop-Up Shop, South by Southwest. I got my ticket for a signing for Brian Michael Bendis, and it looks cool. It looks totally awesome. If you haven't heard about it, look it up online. It said it's open to the public. I don't have a South by Southwest ticket because I hate South by Southwest as a local Austinite. It clogs up traffic. Takes me 3 times as long to get to work, to get anywhere in Austin. I try to avoid the city at all during that time, but I'm really interested in this pop-up shop, so I'm going to fight my way downtown Saturday night, hopefully meet Brian Michael Bendis, and get some cool swag. Fire back social media groups, Facebook group, Twitter, Gmail account, you know it, guys. Let me know, what do you think of Jon Favreau and Star Wars? Do you feel like we're being oversaturated with Star Wars now, or do you have other issues with it? Let me know. 20th Century Fox, should they continue business as usual? And then, of course, is anyone really that surprised that Kevin Feige has his plans for the next 10 years of the Marvel Cinematic Universe planned out? I sure as hell don't. But anyway, guys, that's it for me. Go live your lives. Watch Jessica Jones. And meet me back here next week so we can talk about it. Until then, may the Force be with us all.